How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of GHMV Reacts. Today I am reacting to Luke Spencer's intervention. Now, this was recently requested by GHFan51184. However, I've actually talked about reacting to this episode more than once. In fact, the first time I mentioned it, GH wasn't even back on the air yet. And I thought that this would be a good time to do it since Alexis Davis is spiraling out of control and probably will need an intervention herself soon. No spoilers. I mean, I feel like it's going to happen. Sam's been kind of confronting Alexis this week on her alcoholism, so I feel like it could lead to an intervention. So I thought, why not watch a really good GH episode that had an intervention when it comes to alcohol? This features Luke Spencer, all of his kids. It features Tracy, Sonny, and Carly were there as well. Let's watch together.
You didn't have to drug him.
They didn't have a choice.
He wouldn't have come willingly.
He's gonna be, pardon the pun, fit to be tied.
He's coming too.
Who the hell are you? Hey.
Don't try to get up, Luke. Your son's duct taped you. You can't get up.
What the hell is this?
It's called an intervention.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You allowed this?
Everyone in this room is here because they love you.
Well, love me less.
And they are concerned about you.
Where am I?
One of my warehouses, I thought it would be fit for the occasion.
Did your no-neck bring me here? You don't remember? I was at Jake's talking to Siobhan. And you.
I'm gonna nerd out for a second.
Gosh.
I forgot. This was actually shot in a set that had 4 walls, which never happens on soaps. You know that, it's 3 walls, and then the camera's in front of them. They did this in a full set that they built and did this really great camera work.
I was knocked out and brought here against my will. I acknowledge that I'm plenty pissed off about it, that I've got a jackhammer coming through my skull, so I'm in no mood to play your little game. Just cut me loose. Let's get out of here. What is this, safety in numbers? You couldn't confront me one-on-one?
Some of us have tried. All of us are concerned.
I miss Jane Elliott so much.
All of us. Does that include a perfect stranger? Who is this clown?
My name is Calvin Blaine. I'm an interventionist. Your family asked me to help.
Well, Calvin Blaine, they have wasted your time. These people aren't here because of my drinking. Booze is just easier for them to wrap their heads around than the fact that I killed a child. Now, if you
I didn't even think about that. You know,
bring it on.
looking back at this, it's weird to think about because this is when Luke supposedly hit Jake and Jake died, and he was drinking when Jake got hit, but then we learned eventually...
No amount
Sorry, hold
of
on.
collective concern is gonna make me what?
Eventually we learned that Luke didn't hit Jake and that it was all some plan by Helena, which was not really explained, which is why I hate that Jake's alive again, because it really messes with so much history. And the story was really good. I mean, I know it's bad when a child dies, but...
Look, he's had a terrible loss, and you love him, and you want to support him. But this is not the way to do it.
Lulu wrote a letter. She needs to read it.
You don't have to, baby.
We'll talk in a bit. I'm really enjoying this.
Dear Dad, I love you so much. Even though you weren't around during a lot of my childhood, it seems as though the times in my life that are most memorable all share a common thread. They involve you. I told you that I hated ice fishing, which is true. I hated sitting around and freezing. But what I didn't tell you is that I actually couldn't wait to do it again with you. Because that was our connection. You're my father. Therefore, you're my world. And it's always been important that you think highly of me and that you respect me. And as our relationship has grown
I love
stronger,
when Julie and Tony were on screen together
I know
too.
that
They were
you
magic
do.
as well.
and you've supported me unconditionally.
Julie and Jeannie as well.
If you've still got any questions or reservations, we don't have to do this today. We could still go to Europe.
I wouldn't dream of interrupting your extended adolescence by making you a grandfather.
This is when Lulu had an
Don't put this decision
abortion.
on me, Lulu, not even as a joke.
You've been great. Better than I could have ever imagined in my wildest dreams. And I'm never going to forget how you showed up and you stood up for me.
What are you saying? You want to do this alone?
I'll call a cab when it's over.
No, honey, I can't just leave you here. I'll wait in the car.
Listen, this isn't exactly the kind of thing that a girl wants.
That story was probably the highlight of Luke and Lulu's relationship because he really had her back during this story.
Okay, if that's what you want.
I love you.
I love you, sweetheart.
You're the only one who helped me through one of the hardest times of my life. When you were at the Haunted Star and you trashed it and you covered it in gasoline. You were more than self-destructive. You're suicidal. And that scares me. You're not my dad. You've been replaced by a man who doesn't care about me or anybody else, least of all himself. Preparing for the intervention made me realize what I saw that night was your illness. It's taken over and it's not okay. And I'm asking you to get yourself help. Because we've only just begun and I need a dad in my life.
I'm sorry, Lola. I'm sorry. But you are wrong.
Luke,
Mr. Ethan Lovett.
on one fateful night, a night that began like any other, I decided to rob the Haunted Star. And that night I met you staring down the business end of a shotgun. And nothing has been the same since. See, that night, I met a running mate, a partner in crime. I met a best friend.
Such a unique way of doing this.
And a mentor, and eventually
Great episode.
a father. And you've been the best man I've ever known, and I love you.
And if you drugged us, Luke Spencer, so that you could get me to marry you...
Do you think that I would drug myself? Come on.
It's coming back to me. You dared me to keep up with you.
That's one of the things I love most about you, Popsicle.
That's when Ethan
You
and Maya
cannot
got
resist
married
the challenge.
by accident.
Okay, what are you hunting for down there? Truffles?
No, treasure of a different sort.
You and Luke were grabbing cocktails faster than Ethan and I could confiscate them.
Don't you mean guzzle them?
We had to drink them to keep them away from you and Larry.
Tell me I'm not married to him.
You are, sweetheart.
How would you know?
Ta-da! This is what I was looking for. This is the treasure I was looking for. This is our sweet marriage license, my wife.
This thing, whatever this is the hardest battle you've ever had to fight. And I'm asking you to rise up and let me fight it with you. Because I know how hard it is to step back. And I know how easy it would be to just let go.
I know the circumstances of how Ethan came to be kind of ruined the legacy of Luke and Laura, but I really like Ethan as a character.
Just
And
come back to us.
He fits in so well with the Spencers.
Just get that spark back in your eyes. And get some help.
And oh, well, I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to wait my turn. You would do anything to save the life of someone you love. Why can't you save your own, Luke? Good. gotta tell you, Luke, one of the things that I admire most about you.
I forgot. Some of it is a little bit ridiculous, like, you know, Luke kind of hallucinating, having tea or coffee with Sunny on a table.
I know what I saw.
But, you know, it was creative, okay? The conversation is what matters here.
Being friends, it's not easy to do, I know that.
Hey, Sonny, you got any ice there left in that?
Yeah. There you go. I don't want any part of this. I think
Now hold some ice against your ear
Okay.
till it gets numb,
And we'll do.
and we'll be in business.
Oh. First aid kit.
Okay, it's just cold.
Oh, you guys.
All right.
You guys are just.
Boys and girls, don't try
I bet
this at
Maurice
home.
and Tony really loved watching this.
This should only be
Little
done
Jonathan
by a
putting his ear
trained
pierced.
professional.
You rode with me in the ambulance, you held my hand. And that was the first.
I miss Tyler Christopher. Don't get me
Into the
wrong.
real
Like,
man
I
that
think
you are,
that the current actor is doing a great job.
And I
But they
appreciate
can't do things like this when it's a
your
recast,
wisdom,
right? They can't show flashbacks
your
and
great sense of humor,
kind of reminisce in the same ways that we
and
would
your
with a
ability to
character that's
accept
been
people
played by the same
just for who they
actor.
are. But the alcohol is robbing you of that. It's taking that away from you. I mean, I can't tell you how many times you've shown up drunk and gone off on me just to do it.
I'm not going to get all sentimental and mushy because you hate that and it's not my style. So I'm going to give it to you straight. You're an alcoholic and you're in denial. And the alcohol holds you at a distance from people who love you. Stops you from showing up when it matters and numbs you to the point where you don't care. So this man who we all love, and yes, Luke, I do love you, will be lost to us all for good. So I'm asking you to fight back. Fix yourself and get treatment.
Let me ask you something. If a bunch of well-meaning but misguided people ask you to prove that you love them by giving up everything you are, what would you do?
We're not asking you to give up who you are. We're asking you to give up the booze.
Tracy?
This is really low, wife.
You are my unexpected miracle. I have loved loving you. Learning how to love from you. Love is a meeting of the minds, a recognition of spirit, a conversation between two hearts. It requires appreciation and acceptance. But
Luke
I
and
do
Tracy
not
were quite
accept
wonderful
your
too, though.
disease. I know
Don't at
that
me,
I
Luke and
have
Laura fans. I love Luke and Laura. You guys
done my
know I
part
do,
to enable
but I
you.
loved Luke and Tracy as well.
Buzzword. I'm so sick of hearing buzzwords today. You have transformed my life. Not just with the bank accounts and the mansion, the corporate jets. I mean, all that's nice, but none of that could keep me here with you if I didn't want to be. It's you, darling. It's you. You make my life worthwhile. It's because of you that I give a damn. I love you with all my heart. My Spanky. My sweetheart, my wife.
Spanky buns.
That's why it was so important that you be sober for our wedding. Alcohol is stealing your soul. You may have said the vows, but I'm married to the booze.
I got a lot to say about
I can't carry
where
this marriage
things
by myself.
went with Luke after this, but I'll wait till the episode's over to kind of get my bigger thoughts kind of out on this
I
situation.
married you pure. With no agenda. And you can't say that. You want to change me. I'm not okay the way I am. I'm gonna tell you something, Tracy. It'll never happen. Your turn, cowboy.
The The moment we've all been waiting for.
Let's just get it over with, shall we? I'm thirsty.
Dear Dad, I'm going to start off with a word you don't like very much.
Hero?
It's one that you've railed against ever since I can remember.
Hero.
But it's one that you can't outrun. Hero.
I do remember this episode. It's been years since I watched it, but...
That's what you became.
The Spencers were like the A team on the show. All talented actors back then, and all really good at what they do, and all so much alike in so many ways.
And in some ways you always will be.
So if you tell me that I've had something to do with the development of a man who I hold in the highest regard, well, that's a blessing. I may be taller, but you are my hero. You are the role model in this family.
How much longer do you think you can keep that taller thing going?
Oh, leave me a little dignity, will you?
Oh, the tears in John's eyes. Oh, what a great
I'm in a
actor.
unique position. I know the rage that it brings. Walls start to close in. You feel like you're going to suffocate. Because you know, with everything inside of you, that you're right. And everyone else here, everyone else in your life who loves you is wrong. My son just died. I need my father. I need you present. I need your wisdom and your clarity and your strength. Just like when I was a kid and we were underground and we were on the run and you'd come and you'd wake me up at 3 a.m. and you'd say, Lucky, we gotta go, it's time. They're after us, we have to move now. I don't want a faded, diminished version of you. I want you. I want my dad.
Right in the feels.
I don't want to walk through this nightmare without that man. I don't want to walk through it.
Like I said, magic every time. Even the camera angles are brilliant.
I would do anything.
I'm sorry, I'm such a nerd.
I am not an alcoholic. I do not have a disease. And I don't want to stay here another minute.
Like I mentioned before, I have a lot to say about the circumstances of this and what happened after. We'll get into it soon.
Nicholas, if you don't get help, then my doors are closed to you.
Ouch, that hurts.
Sonny? Luke, if you don't get help, I can't be there for you at all.
Carly.
If you don't get help, you're not welcome at the Metro Court. No comps. No place to sleep. No free food. And definitely no booze.
Ethan?
Get some help, or there will be no more cons together. You're on your own.
Tracy?
Well, if you don't seek treatment, you will be banned from the Haunted Star. You will not have access to its funds. You will not be welcome in my family home. You will not be welcome in my bed.
Lulu?
If you don't accept treatment, there'll be no further contact between us. I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you.
Lucky.
If you don't get treatment, you're not welcome in my home or my life. Don't call because I won't answer. Don't knock because I won't come to the door. Get help, or you're on your own.
I hope you all enjoyed the creative writing.
We did.
I can't say that I did.
I feel like that was a fourth
That's
wall
irrelevant,
moment.
isn't it? Because now you can all pat yourselves on the back and say, well, we tried. You can write me off as the unrepentant bastard who mowed down a 4-year-old.
Nah, if that's what you've got out of this, you completely missed the point.
Well, see, that's the point. There is no point. It's pointless. It's random, it's pointless, and nobody gets out alive. So if you'll excuse me, there's a bottle with my name on it.
Oh man, I mean, the episode itself was great. Getting to see all those talented actors in one room doing amazing work it's always fun to see. Now, in regards to the circumstances of how this happened, we know that originally Luke Spencer hit Jake with his car and Jake died, right? So years later, we find out that Helena somehow, even though they didn't explain exactly how, somehow Helena tricked Luke into thinking that he did it, and that was that. Jake's alive. It redeemed Luke before Tony Geary left the show. Now, I know there's some controversy in saying that I wish that Jake stayed dead because it's a kid. It's an awful tragedy. It's great that it was undone for the parents, but it just ruined the whole story. Like it's we got to see some great work done by the actors, and then the change in the story, it just kind of makes all that really pointless. Now, at the time too, I thought it was interesting that they latched onto the fact that Luke was an alcoholic, because as long as we've known Luke Spencer since 1978 or 79, whenever he came on, he's always been around alcohol, and he's been like a connoisseur of alcohol. And even at his drunkest throughout the years, they never really called him an alcoholic. They never said it out loud until Luke hit Jake, and he just happened to be drinking that night. And Luke was adamant in saying that he was not drunk when he hit Jake, and Lucky latched on to the booze, and there might have been some truth to it. I don't know. Now, we also know that Luke's father was an alcoholic, and we got to see that again when Ron Carlivati wrote that one special episode of Luke's childhood where we learned that he accidentally killed his mother and killed his father. And that story, as good as it was, kind of changes Luke Spencer for all these decades, because apparently the whole time he's been like a split personality, and he's been kind of going back and forth and being off the rails, and that's why he might have cheated on Laura, and that's why he ran off and worked with Helena. That's why he did all these crazy things when it all came to head on that year when he was Fluke, I think we were calling him, and when we thought he was Bill Eckert that kidnapped Luke, and it was just this weird, I don't know, it was just a train wreck until that one episode kind of fixed everything. I think what happened was that Ron Carlivati got mad that the audience figured out that it was Bill Eckert, because Tony Geary himself actually confirmed that it was supposed to be, and that they changed the story at the last second, which frustrated me about Ron Carlivati, is that he did that all the time in his stories. When they didn't make sense, he had an excuse for it, and he'd quickly flip it around and do something else. when the audience figured it out before he was ready for us to figure it out. It's like he was insulted by our intelligence, and he used that to change stories and piss us off even more. So, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. It really puts a blur on who Luke Spencer is, because, I mean, was he even Luke Spencer when he met Laura? Was he Luke Spencer when he was being good to his kids? Was he Luke Spencer when he wasn't being good to his kids? No one knows for sure. And it made me so mad. And then furthermore, just to kind of bring up something that happened, I think also under Ron Carlivati, is that one day Luke Spencer just started drinking again, and Tracy flinched for like a second, but then let it fly. So it's like they kind of regretted making Luke an alcoholic. It's just weird. Like, most of the characters that have had alcoholism haven't turned back to the booze. Like, Monica went through it. Alexis obviously was doing good until everything happened, and honestly, I can't blame her for going back to it, but they're writing her as an alcoholic. So it makes sense. Luke, they just kind of overlooked it, and they were like, oh, it's just Luke being Luke. Like, that's what makes it so weird. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below what your take is on Luke Spencer and his history on the show, and how much everything changed, especially in his last few years. It's Luke, I don't know. I know that Tony Geary had a lot to do with the dark path that Luke went on throughout the years, especially the later years, and that he didn't want to get back with Laura because he thought that his character has grown past that. I think Tony's ego, no offense to the actor, I think that came into play as well. But there's just so many different things happening that just kind of makes the character so convoluted, especially in the last few years, because there's all these different people changing his story instead of just letting it flow naturally, and it just messed things up at the end. And then furthermore, when Tony Geary decided to exit, he didn't even really get a proper goodbye. I mean, Tony Geary didn't want flashbacks, but I mean, at the end of the day, while he is Luke, the character belongs to the fans. And I think that as fans, we deserve to see that fanfare that, personally, I think all of us, his fans, felt that he deserved. We felt that he deserved a really good final story that was the epitome of Luke and that celebrated his decades on the show, and, the change that the character created in soaps as a whole. And he didn't want the fanfare, and it ruined the end of his story. I mean, we did get to see all of his favorite people come back. We got to see Jonathan Jackson return, and Nathan Parsons, and Emma Samms, and Jeannie Francis. He invited them all back because he wanted them to be a part of his final story. But the final story was just such trash that it was not fun to watch. And Ron Carlivati was still writing it, and there were things that were happening in that story that made no sense. I remember the thing that pissed me off the most was that Holly told Laura that she didn't know that Luke and Laura were still happy and together, and that she was pregnant. She was there when Laura and Luke announced that they were pregnant with Lucky, so that made me mad. Furthermore, Laura asked, or I don't know if it was Laura that asked, someone asked Holly if she knew Bill Eckert, and she said, no, not really. And they were together. They were a couple. I was like, what is going on? Like, it was so disastrous. It took being able to enjoy the story right out of me. It just ruined it for me. And then, and then he left. So, and we'll never see him again. I think that ship has sailed for Tony, and I think Tony's very happy in his life in Amsterdam. So again, as a one-off episode, I enjoyed this intervention, but just with the history and everything surrounding it, it really kind of makes watching it again a little bit disappointing, because it just reminds me of everything that happened after, and so frustrating. All right, now before I let you go, next week I want to do a spooky reaction. So I want you guys to let me know what ghost-related GH scenes or episodes you guys want me to watch. Whenever a character comes back as a ghost to talk to another character that is still alive, or just when there's like a ghost haunting someone. just those kind of scenes. Let me know in the comments below which one of those you want me to see. I will react to 3 or 4 of them. We'll see. Depends what you guys suggest below. Now the week after that, or I should say the month after that, I am going to have every Wednesday that month be a theme of dragging and confrontations. This is an idea from Jacarius Naylor. Now we've done dragging and confrontations video before. We've either done 1 or 2 of them at this point. But since these videos are shorter, I thought I would just use the month of November to go with that theme. So let me know what dragging and confrontational moments from the show you'd like me to see below, and we'll react to that all November long, just to make up for the fact that we can't do the longer episodes as much as I used to anymore. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this reaction. If you did, give this video a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Let me hold it down.